Okay. What's your earliest memory? How old were you?
A long time, my very earliest memory.
Hmm.
Probably 2.5 or 3 years old.
Yeah.
With my parents on a boardwalk in Rockaway.
And what do you remember about
Rockaway
that?
Beach.
Yeah. What do you remember? The smells?
I think it was Rockaway Beach. It could have been any of the South Shore beaches.
Yeah. You remember the...
Probably Rockaway because that's the closest.
Okay.
Yeah, the ocean, the salt water, walking on the boardwalk. It was wood then, and there was splinters.
Yeah.
Splinters
Yeah.
in the wood. The ocean smell, lots of noise, and people with barbecues smelling, cooking beef, meat, hot dogs, hamburgers, because people were allowed to cook on the beach in those days.
Yeah. Cool.
That's probably my earliest sharp memory.
Okay.
It must have been about 2.5 or 3. I don't have many memories before that, really.
Okay. That's
I
very...
have memories from pictures that are. I have memories from pictures that are probably implanted memories as opposed to real memories, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I look at pictures and I seem to remember it, but I don't think I really do. I think I'm just looking at the picture and creating something.
Yep. It's hard to tell. Okay. What did you love to do as a child?
Play with my trains, my Lionel trains, play with my Cowboys and Indians sets, shoot marbles in the schoolyard as a very young child, then a little older, play stickball and wiffle ball, and then as I grew up, play softball and then baseball. I think those are probably the things I enjoyed the most.
Okay. Was there a moment?
I like to go. I also like to go swimming. Swimming was a big favorite of mine.
Yeah.
I love to go to the ball. I love to go to the Dodger games at Ebbets Field with my Uncle Mike. I love to go to Coney Island with my Uncle Mike and my dad for hot dogs at Nathan's, and then go on the rides. So I'd say Ebbets Field, baseball games, Coney Island. And probably going to my mother's house for food and for dinner, and watching TV with my uncles at my maternal grandmother's.
Wow. Sounds like a rich childhood. Was there a moment or moments when you knew what you wanted to do or what you wanted to be when you got older?
Never.
Yeah. Okay.
I never had a clear idea. I think all through high school and college, I targeted to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
Because that's what was expected of me, but I don't think it's ever what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I guess what I wanted to do was by doing different things and finding out what I liked. For example, all those years I spent sailing down in the Caribbean, I went on a vacation to the Caribbean and liked it, and liked sailing boats. I learned how to sail from Dad when I was a kid. And I just stayed in the Caribbean for several years sailing boats. And then I came back and got into the real estate business and found I liked building buildings. But it wasn't because I determined that that's what I wanted to do. I did a lot of different things, and when I found something I liked, I stuck with it for a while.
Yeah, so there were moments. You had different moments when you knew what you wanted to do. That's fine. That's cool.
Just by doing it.
Yeah.
Just by doing it. Because I was supposed to be a lawyer. I got into Columbia and Yale. I was second in my class at Columbia College. I got into Columbia and Yale, but then I didn't go.
Yeah.
I did other things.
Yeah.
I worked in TV broadcasting for a while. Then I went on a vacation to the Caribbean, and I sailed yachts for, a dozen years, 10 years. Then I went into the real estate business, did very well in building buildings.
Okay, cool. Exciting life. All right. This is...
Yeah, I just, sort of found what I wanted to do by doing different things. And I did many, many different things. And then when I really enjoyed something, I stuck with it for a while.
Right. So the underlying thread would be enjoyment and finding you had skills for it.
Well, or something interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, something interesting that I was good at.
Yeah. Okay.
Mostly something interesting that I was good at and had some value add, some social value.
Yeah, okay. This is a question about heroes. As
About what?
heroes. When you were younger, did you have a hero?
When I was really little, I was into cowboys.
Yeah.
So I guess the Lone Ranger was a hero of
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah.
And I would say that, the Western heroes,
Right.
the riflemen,
Yeah.
the TV Western heroes when I was a kid, because that's what was popular.
Yeah.
So the rifleman, Matt Dillon, the guy from the Wells Fargo guy,
Yeah.
those guys from the 1950s and 60s, early black and white Western, 1950s, early 50s, mid 50s.
Yeah.
Cowboy heroes
Yeah.
were my childhood heroes, more so than the Superman, Batman types or Spider-Man types who had superpowers, because the Western heroes didn't have superpowers. They were just really good at something that any human being could do.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
I was more interested in people who didn't have superpowers but did super things.
Yeah. And what about now? Do you have a
I
real...
guess that's why I like Batman more than I like Superman, for example.
Right. He was just Batman, just a man. Yeah.
He was a man. He didn't have superpowers.
Right.
He created his superpowers by technology.
Right.
Strength, physical strength.
Yeah. What about now? Do you have a real life hero now?
No, not really. My dad was probably the man I most admired of anybody that I ever met. But I'm old enough now to know that most people have flaws, and I would say that I'm very cognizant of the fact that people who appear to be heroes often aren't.
Yeah. Okay, another question. What makes you happy, or to put that in perhaps a better way, what gives you the feeling that time ceases to exist?
Swimming, boating, sailing, reading, watching a good movie, meditating. Those are the things I would say fit in that category.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. All right. If you could invite a small group of people to enjoy dinner with you, who would be around your table? And it could be anyone, living, dead. And what would you serve?
Probably my best friends still are my friends from college, guys that I've known now for 55 years and more.
Wow.
We're coming up on a 55th anniversary, and my best friends are all guys I went to Columbia with.
Wow.
So I probably have 3 or 4 of my Columbia classmates who I've known, all these years, and we went to school together, we played sports together, we did, we studied together, we learned together. And everybody went in different directions, but we always kept contact. We always go to Columbia athletic events together. We all have season tickets for Columbia football games. And, some of them I talk to on the phone with every day, and some of them I talk on the phone with three or 4 times a month. But
wow.
We're all very simpatico, and
that's
we all
incredible.
have very different experiences, very different political perspectives. So I would say if I were having a dinner party for friends, I would have 3 or 4 or 5, maybe 6 of my college buddies.
Yeah.
And for them, I would make a barbecue and serve hot dogs, hamburgers, and grilled vegetables, because that would be fun.
Yeah.
If I were having family, I would have my grandma Bess.
Yeah.
I would have my father and mother.
Yeah.
I would have my grandpa Lou.
Yeah.
I would have, those are the 4 I would have.
And what would you serve to them?
Grilled salmon.
Grilled salmon.
Asparagus.
Okay, that sounds great. Okay. Seth, what do you feel makes you unique?
My range of experiences from, I had a very solid Ivy League education. I spent years sailing around the Caribbean, really sailing around the world. I worked in TV journalism, made movies, worked in real estate, built beautiful, beautiful buildings, cleaned up, did a lot of environmental cleanup, did a lot of charity work, and just had a very broad variety of experiences, literally all over the world, which I think gives me a unique perspective and a very broad perspective on the world. I'm very interested in comparative religion, very interested in different cultures, very open-minded to different points of view for the most part, although I'm pretty conservative in my personal philosophy. I think what makes me unique is my range of experiences.
Yeah, fascinating. Okay, if you could make a change in your life, what would it be?
Right now or in the past?
Now, well, any change in your life. Any change in your life, it could be any time.
Not much. I mean, regrets, I don't really... I mean, I've made a lot of mistakes, mainly, when I had great opportunities and I got bored with something, I moved to something else, probably to my financial detriment. Made some financial mistakes, made some relationships mistakes, but I wouldn't do any of it over again. I'm fine where I am.
Okay, so you wouldn't change something. Okay. What do you wish...
Well, I mean, if I could go back to being 20, knowing what I know now, and do it over, it would be very different.
Yeah.
But since I can't do that, there's no point in dealing with that. So I try not to have regret, and I try to say, past is past, that was done, and what can I do today and tomorrow to enjoy, to do something meaningful.
So if
regret is not a very useful thing.
Okay, so let's forget about the past. Let's continue with this question. If today you could change something in your life, in any way, alter, like what would you wish for yourself?
I wish I was probably in a little better physical shape. I don't work out or exercise as much as I know I should. My weight is good. My health is essentially good. I have a little melanoma and some other issues, but that's nothing that's of any serious nature. Well, it's serious, but it's being dealt with, dealing with it on a regular basis. So probably get myself in better physical shape, and start weightlifting again, maybe start more aerobic exercise, more biking again. But otherwise, I wouldn't change very much of anything. Okay,
cool. Okay, now some quickies. I'd like to know your favorite things. Your favorite writer.
Favorite writer? I read 2 or 3 books a month, so hard to say who my favorite writer is.
Yeah.
My favorite writer is the writer of the book I'm reading now.
And what are you reading now? Even though you're reading 2 or 3, probably.
Right now I'm reading biographies.
Yeah.
I'm reading actually 2 biographies of Benjamin Franklin.
Oh, wow.
So that's interesting to me. I'm very much enamored with history.
Yeah.
And my most interesting periods of history are the American Revolution,
the
American Civil War,
World
War II, and therefore the personalities and characters involved in those specific events are ones that are always fascinating to me.
I see. Okay. Your favorite artist?
My favorite artist is the painter of the picture that I'm looking at the moment that I most enjoy.
Ah, okay.
It's the same. I mean, for example, if I'm looking, I have not an original, but if I'm looking at a Monet poster in my where I'm sitting right now, he's at the moment my favorite artist because I'm looking and enjoying his colors.
Right.
So I would say that rather than giving the name of an artist, I would say I try to enjoy what I'm doing at the moment. Therefore, I get pleasure out of looking at something, and if I don't get pleasure out of it, I'll walk by it. In other words, if it doesn't catch me either intellectually or emotionally, I don't pay attention to it usually. So I would say the same as I tend to try to enjoy what I'm doing at the moment. So the artist that I most enjoy is the one whose work I'm looking at now.
Right.
If I'm standing in the Museum of Modern Art, and I'm standing in front of Rauschenberg, I'll probably be fascinated. And for that moment, Rauschenberg is my favorite artist because I'm enjoying his painting.
Okay,
I hope I'm making myself clear.
Absolutely. Very cool. What about your favorite movie? Do you have one that you would see again and you don't mind? Again and again, even?
I love movies. I love going to the movies. I have 1,000 favorite movies. I can't pick a movie that I like the most. My favorite movie that I can see again and again and again is obviously Casablanca, because it's set in World War II and it has all of the characters that you want to have in a non-battle scene World War II era movie. Mm-hmm. It's got the Jewish storyline. It's got the French collaborator Nazi lover storyline. It's got the Nazi storyline. It's got all of the elements. But there are so many wonderful movies over history. I would say the best post-Second War movie that I enjoyed the most, or I find was the most meaningful for me, was The Best Year of Our Lives, about the three veterans who come back to a relatively small city in the Midwest with various, actually in California, with various either obvious physical or emotional problems and deal with them.
Yeah.
And that's a wonderful movie. If you haven't seen it, I would see it.
Yeah, I
the other movie that I enjoy from that period, and I generally refer back to movies of the 40s and 50s, because in the 40s and 50s, movies were based on character and script and storyline and dialogue, because you didn't have special effects.
Yeah.
So a movie like Best Years of Our Lives is just a phenomenal movie. A movie like Gentleman's Agreement about anti-Semitism in the suburbs of New York.
Yeah.
It's just a magnificent movie in the black and white era, or To Kill a Mockingbird of the same era.
Yeah.
There are wonderful, wonderful movies of the 40s and 50s, black and white, that have never been equaled in terms of quality, of dialogue, quality of story, and real emotion, as opposed to insane special effects.
Okay. What about your favorite meal?
My favorite meal? I like almost everything, from pizza to, I like simple food, grilled chicken, grilled salmon, vegetables, anything that's simple, kind of clean, pure, good food.
Okay. Do you have favorite music?
Again, I would have to say the same thing as books and art. Coming back to movies, I don't like loud, noisy, crazy special effects movies, except for the original Star Wars trilogy. Because that was just so mind-blowingly forward.
Yeah.
That was just so different than anything before. Everything after that is just noise and green screen. But music, similarly. I mean, if I went to the park the other night, it was a Beethoven concerto in the band shell. It was magnificent.
Yeah.
But I tend to like classical music. I like classical music of that 18th, 19th century period.
Right.
Beethoven, Mozart, Handel,
right.
From the English school.
Yeah.
I enjoy Bach. I'd say classical music is my favorite. Early rock and roll, I like some of it, but not all of it.
Okay.
But that's kind of my taste in music.
Okay. What's your favorite place to be?
Wherever I am.
Okay. So that completes the section of the quickies. Now, this is targeting...
I wasn't quick, dear.
Actually, you've way gone beyond my mother's 15 minutes. And now we're on question 11. And at the end, there's like 13 questions. So, okay, go for it.
So we're 11 out of 13, or you're 11 plus 13?
No. We're at 11 out of 13.
Which?
11 out of 13. We've got 11, 12, 13 to go. Okay. But 11 is a little bit...
No worries. I'm not in any hurry. I have plenty of time.
Okay.
I'm looking at a Monet, and I'm sitting in a comfortable chair, and I'm perfectly happy talking to you.
Very nice. Okay. All right. Can you focus in on one special memory of our parents, aunts, uncles, cousins, and Grandma Bess? Okay, so I'm going to shoot names and ask if you can remember one particular memory. Okay? Are you willing?
This is all question 11. In other words, this is question 11 and 20 points.
Yes, you could say that. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 7 personalities here. Okay? Okay. The first one is Jack, your father. One memory?
Swimming in the, him teaching me how to swim in a pool in our apartment building at London Terrace Apartments.
Wow. Okay. Evelyn, your mom.
Going to the March on Washington with my mother.
Wow. Okay. Bill, my father.
Going to his house when I was doing a movie on Americans who were moving to Toronto to avoid the draft.
Right.
And staying at his house and talking to him about the film and having very different opinions, but being able to share those opinions with mutual respect.
That's so good. Okay. Marilyn, my mother.
I remember your mother. Can't be a real memory, but I have a flash memory of your mother at her wedding to your father.
Yeah.
And I couldn't have been more than 4 or 5 years old.
Right.
And I remember her looking absolutely beautiful. I just thought she was just gorgeous. Isn't that a funny thing?
Yeah, that is funny.
And I don't think that's from a picture. I think that's real. I think that was the first wedding I ever went to. I don't know. How old could I have been?
I don't know. It was in 52. You told me.
So I was 6 years old, so I could remember that.
Yeah, sure. That's legitimate. Okay, cool.
I think that was like the first wedding that I ever went to.
Yeah. Okay, that's nice.
I'm pretty sure that was the first wedding I ever went to.
Okay.
I would have been 5.5 years old, and I remember it.
Yeah. Okay. Uncle Marv, Naomi's husband.
Oh, meeting Uncle Marv at Rockefeller Center when he was working as a lighting engineer for NBC, and he took me out to lunch. I was just starting college. And he took me out to lunch at a nice restaurant in the Rockefeller Center. And I remember he had a really good lunch. I never had a lunch like that because he had lamb chops and mashed potatoes and vegetables. And I thought, this is a lunch. This is really incredible. A nice restaurant. And he took me up and showed me what he did with the lighting and and all of that stuff.
Cool. Okay. Naomi.
Naomi is a good question. You want my earliest memory or my best memory?
Just a memory that sticks out when you think of her.
Okay, when I was after I graduated from college, and Marvin got me a job for the summer so I could put away some money for law school because I still intended to go to law school.
Yeah.
I drove cross country I flew to Arizona, and Naomi and Marvin lent me their van so a college buddy and I could drive up to San Francisco and back as a little vacation before I started work. And they were so nice to me. They let me stay in the house, and I worked for Marvin at PBS in Tucson at the university for a while until I went back to go to the Chicago convention, Democratic convention in Chicago.
Wow. So you remember Naomi as being generous and loving, or? Very
hospitable. Yeah, very funny and hospitable.
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, now Grandma Bess.
I have a billion memories of Grandma Bess. Grandma Bess was probably next to my dad my favorite human being ever on planet Earth.
Yeah.
So I have an infinite number of memories. But I remember when we first moved to Great Neck after Howard was born and my mother was sick, Bess came out to stay with us and take care of us. And she was just amazing.
Do you remember one particular incident or speaking with her or something?
She always made potato. Yeah, she let me help her make potato pancakes and also cheese blintzes.
Right.
And we made like hundreds of cheese blintzes and put them in the freezer. And I sat there in the kitchen in Great Neck with her making cheese blintzes for hours and wrapping them in what was it called, wax paper.
Yeah.
And making little packages of them and putting them in the freezer. That's a very specific memory. And I so enjoyed that. It was just so wonderful. And then she would take some of them and fry them in a large pan with fresh butter, and serve them with applesauce or powdered sugar. And that was just phenomenal.
Wow. Okay. All right. Now we're at question 12. This is sort of connected to that last question. Is there a special family event that you hold dear? And if so, what was it? Who was there?
Passover Seder.
Yeah.
Passover Seder every year.
Who was there?
At the time I was...
Yeah.
Well, initially it was at my mother's parents' house for the first X number of years. So who was there? Was Bubby, my mother's mother,
Yeah.
mother Bubby.
Yeah.
My Uncle Harry, who ran the service because my grandfather was dead, died just before I was born, actually. So Samuel died just before I was born. So Uncle Harry ran the service. So it was Uncle Harry, Bubby, my dad, my mom, later on my brother Mike, later on my brother Howard, my cousin Lisa, her brother, her older brother, my Aunt Molly, my Aunt Esther, my Uncle Mike, and that was it.
Wow. And from what you...
Oh, and also Mike and Esther's son.
Right.
Billy.
Okay, so...
I go through Grandma, it was my mother's mother, called Bubby.
Yeah.
Uncle Mike and Aunt Esther and Bill.
Right.
Harry and Lynn and Lisa and her older brother.
Right.
Howard, Michael, and I, and Dad and Mom. That was in the early years, right? Then, when Bubby died, the Seder switched to my dad's house in Kings Point, or in Great Neck and then in Kings Point.
Yeah.
And then it was mostly not that side of the family, but always the Passover Seder every single year.
Yeah. Wow.
Always. Now, a Passover Seder at Bubby's was much more Orthodox because it was an Orthodox family. Harry was Orthodox. Grandpa Sam, who I didn't know, but he was Orthodox. He was actually the president of the shul before he died. And so that was a more Orthodox Seder that went very late into the night. Of course, my father's Seders were more Reform.
Yeah.
And then over the years, I took over doing the Seders. And so I ran the Seders at my father's house for many, many years.
Right. So from
those were by far, that's the holiday. There is no other holiday.
Okay, so I want to ask you...
Hanukkah...
Yeah, okay. So I want to ask you, from what you've remembered, how does it make you feel today?
What do you mean, how does it make me feel today?
As you're thinking about it.
I remember feeling...
No. Right now.
Not how I felt then?
How you feel now.
Thinking of the Passover Seder?
How you feel now thinking about the past.
Right this minute?
Yes.
Right this minute?
Yeah.
How do I feel sitting where I'm sitting right?
Thinking about it, yeah. After you've gone through it, the memories and who was there, how does it make you feel now? Sad.
Nostalgic.
Yeah.
A couple of adjectives. Nostalgic.
Yeah.
Very sad and very almost lonely. It's almost a hollow feeling because all of those people, except for my cousins and my brothers, are gone.
Yeah.
And Billy just died.
Yeah,
so that's, so even of first cousins, Billy is gone. Lisa is around, her brother's around, but they, I don't see them very often. My brothers are still around.
Yeah.
But missing that whole generation of people, my parents' generation and the generation before them are all gone.
Yes.
Every one of them.
Yeah. Except for
your mother.
Yes, she's still holding out. Okay, right. Now we're on the final question, which is...
But once you guys moved to Toronto, you weren't part of that.
Yeah, I know.
So
I know.
Hardly ever worked.
Yeah.
Never worked, really, except maybe once or twice.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's it.
Okay,
the final question. Is there anything you wish I had asked or would like to add? For example, what age do you feel inside? Or how would you like to be remembered? Or anything else you'd like to have on record? Is there anything else?
Well, the age question is interesting. I feel like I'm 35 unless I look in the mirror.
Yeah, I understand.
So I've learned two things that I would share with my family. The first thing is don't look in the mirror.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, after 75 years on the planet, almost 76, I finally discovered the secret of happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me, it took me a full 75 years to discover it.
And do you want to share it here?
Deciding to be happy.
Yeah.
Waking up every morning and saying, today's going to be a fabulous day, and I'm going to enjoy every minute of it, and whatever comes my way, I'm going to deal with it in a constructive way. So the secret of happiness is deciding to be happy, and the secret of feeling young is not to look in the mirror.
Okay. All
Those
right.
are my two shares, if those are okay.
Very nice. Excellent shares. That's it for the questions.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Good.
all.
That was fun.
Yeah. Great.
And you're doing that with a lot of people in the family, and then you're going to, write it up, or
Hopefully,
how are you going to present it?
hopefully lots of people will agree. And if we do Zoom, I'll upload it to YouTube on an unlisted channel. So it's just whoever wants to, if the person would give permission, I'd open it up to just us, the cousins. And if it's just audio.
If you want to do it over again if you wanted, I didn't know you wanted it for video. I thought it was something you were going to transcribe and write.
It doesn't matter.
If you want to do this over again on video down the road, just let me know. I'm happy to do it over again.
Right, and maybe by then I'll have different questions.
Well, the questions were very good. I thought they were broad enough. I thought the questions were open-ended enough so that you gave people room.
Yeah.
And, I'm sure some people, when you say, well, what was your favorite movie? They say To Kill a Mockingbird. What was your favorite book? To Kill a Mockingbird.
No, some people cling to it.
I can't say that because there's so many things that I enjoy.
Yeah. No.
I would say that I have no favorites because I have some that I enjoy more than others. So I'm sorry if those questions didn't go the way those answers didn't go the way you intended.
No. I have no ulterior motives. It's just a trigger.
What?
I have no ulterior motives. I'm not looking for one sort of answer. It's just an opening to try. My idea is I want to get to know you. The last time we really spoke, you were in Toronto making that movie, and you went to live in Yorkville eventually, and that's a long time ago.
Well, I went to live in Yorkville because I wanted to live with the kids who were expats.
I'm not blaming you. I understand totally. I'm just saying it's a long time ago.
No, I mean I'm not saying you're blaming me. I didn't think it as an accusation. I'm just explaining that it was part of the idea of the movie.
Yes.
To be really in a very intimate environment and get the feeling from these expats how they were feeling. To leave their country, to leave their family, to leave their friends. To leave everything.
Yeah. For ideals.
To avoid service.
Yep.
Well, some of them for ideals, and some of them just because they were selfish and they didn't want to serve. So some of them were doing it idealistically because they were opposed to the war on an idealistic level or on a humanitarian level or on some level that you would say would be idealistic. And some of them were just I don't want to be in the Army because that's not what I want to do, and I don't want to take a risk that I'm going to get hurt, which is totally understandable. I'm not saying that is a bad motive. I'm just saying that I would not say that's a particularly idealistic motive. That was not an illegitimate motive, let me put it that way.
I think the instinct to want to stay alive is a reasonable thing.
Yeah, I'm not saying it wasn't unreasonable. It's not unreasonable. I just don't consider it idealistic.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it.
I consider it. I wasn't judging them and saying, "Oh, you're a bad person because you don't want to go and run around in the mud and lose a leg or lose your life." I got it.
Yeah.
But I would not put that in the category of idealism. I felt that the people who stayed in the country and protested the war and went to jail were perhaps more idealistic than the people who went up to Toronto. And,
For sure.
In my opinion.
It's more militant.
So, it's getting not more militant, but more, put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand.
So I didn't, but I tried not to project that into the movie. But the movie ended up being some of the, most of it was the expats, the guy driving across the bridge, the little Volkswagen and arriving in Yorktown and all of that. And then the people up there, the expats. But then part of the movie was people who stayed in New York and Washington and were protesting the war and going to jail and getting beaten up. And, it was trying to show there were two aspects to this, or two ways young people were dealing.
What happened with that movie?
We finished it. It got shown around college campuses. But the other movie, the one I did during the Democratic Convention in Chicago, was the one that really got played.
Yeah.
And that one was really, really very successfully, not money-wise, because we lost a lot of money on it, but it was very successful in terms of making an impact. Because it really showed to Chicago what was going on in Chicago and the use of military force to put down effectively use of military and police power to put down what I consider to be legitimate protest.
Yeah. And if we wanted to
Which,
see...
by the way,
Yeah, go on.
what?
Go on. I was going to ask,
No, go ahead.
if I wanted to see those...
No, I'm done.
If I wanted to see those movies, would I have any way of seeing them?
I probably have a copy somewhere in my attic in Connecticut somewhere. And the one from Chicago called The Whole World Is Watching is in the Museum of Modern Art Documentary Collection.
Wow. So if ever we had a screening, you'd be able to perhaps to bring copies of those movies?
Maybe.
Uh-huh.
Maybe, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, another one I did in Seattle called Two Flats. It's about a group of, it's a very funny movie, actually. It's about a group of anti-war protesters who leave Seattle in an old Volkswagen bus on their way to an anti-war rally in San Francisco. And on the way, when they're approaching the Golden Gate Bridge area, they get two flat tires and don't make it to the protest. It's actually quite funny. And what happens to them and their relationships.
Sounds good. Wow.
Yeah, so those are the three documentaries I made before I got a job in television. I became a television writer for King TV in Seattle for NBC, and went to Vietnam for 2 trips and counted the bodies coming off the planes in the court and filed a lot of anti-war stories, which then got picked up. So then I got brought back to CBS New York, to NBC New York, and then CBS New York, and then I went on vacation to the Caribbean and stayed there. So I never went to law school. So I got into TV actually I got into TV because of Marvin giving me that job at in Tucson.
Right.
And then getting a job for GBH in Boston, going to the Democratic Convention. And then instead of doing what I was supposed to be doing, which was filming inside the convention hall, I got involved with the hippies and filmed everything in the park, and filmed from the demonstration side, which ended up in that movie. And then I made the movie in Canada, and that got me the job in King Television, which got me the job at NBC New York, which got me the job at CBS New York. I took a vacation from that, ended up in the Caribbean, loved it down there, stayed down there for all those years. Then came back, went back to work at CBS Sports for about a year, and then hated it and got a job in real estate. Got into the real estate building business.
Right.
So again, my career was not planned. It was just a series of fortuitous events that led me to things that I enjoy.
Yeah.
So now I'm trying to figure out what to do next. And I may do some writing. I'm thinking of doing some. I don't know what I'm going to do next.
Okay.
I'm thinking of doing some writing next.
Excellent. Good luck, whatever it is.
I have time and a good computer.
Yeah. Very important things. And a comfortable chair. And,
I have a good chair. I have a good computer. I have some good ideas. So I might do some writing.
Yeah. Now you just need a routine. I was working...
All right. Well, anyway, and I think this should be an interesting project, and I'm sure everybody will be responsive. And it'll be very interesting to see what people say.
I hope so.
If you decide you want to do this as video as opposed to audio or writing, and you want to do this again by Zoom, I'll make myself available with pleasure.
That's so sweet. Maybe we do like little vignettes of little filmed things.
Yeah, whatever you want to do, let me know. Okay?
Yeah, thank you so
I'll
much.
make myself available for you.
You're my very first cousin.
All right, well, this was fun.
Seth, you're my very first cousin who agreed to do this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, nobody disagreed.
No, they didn't. No, everyone. I've got lots of positives, but I haven't had people actually jump into the point where they say, "I'm available now. Let's do it now." But you said you're available, and that's wonderful.
Well, yeah, because it's in line with my philosophy and everything I said to you on this call. Which is, when there's something I'm interested in doing, I might as well do it now.
Yeah, might as well. So
okay.
So thanks a million.
Thanks. Have a great day.
You too.
All right. I really enjoyed it.
Bye-bye.